Welcome, everyone. Okay, let's dive into this. Today in our explainer, we're going to unpack one of the most perplexing and, honestly, devastating biological mysteries happening right inside the human body. We're talking about lung fibrosis. Specifically, a condition where the body's own healing mechanisms seemingly turn against it. We're going to track down exactly how and why this happens, treating this medical anomaly like the biological detective story it truly is.
To really understand the scale of what we're dealing with, just look at this number, 500,000. That's 500,000 people in the United States alone affected by what are known as interstitial lung diseases, or ILD. Basically, this is a massive group of pulmonary disorders that all stem from inflammation or abnormal repair mechanisms in the lungs. 500,000 people. That's friends, family members, neighbors. And that really sets the stakes for exactly why unlocking this biological puzzle is absolutely crucial.
And, those stakes become even more severe when we look at the most common clinical form of ILD, which is called Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF. The median survival time after a diagnosis of IPF is literally just 3 to 5 years. And the truly heartbreaking part of this statistic, currently, there's no effective pharmacological intervention. There's no pill to cure this. That is exactly why researchers are working tirelessly to decode the cellular miscommunications that cause this disease.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the mystery of lung fibrosis. Second, we'll meet the rogue repair crew. Third, suspect 1, CCL21 and CCR7. Fourth, suspect 2, the IL-6 cytokine. And finally, stopping the scarring.
Section 1. The mystery of lung fibrosis. A biological crime scene. Let's break down the terminology here. I want you to think of the scarred lung as a biological crime scene, where the triggers are completely unknown. That's exactly what idiopathic means. It means medical detectives are still searching for the exact origin of the damage. But what they do know for sure is that it involves persistent injury to the alveolar epithelial cells. Those are the incredibly delicate cells lining the tiny air sacs in your lungs where oxygen exchange actually happens. And this continuous injury leads to severe, unstoppable scarring of the lung tissue.
Now, while the initial trigger is unknown, scientists have pieced together a sort of speculative timeline of how this crime unfolds. Step 1, there's some kind of persistent lung injury. Step 2, this leads directly to the death of those vital epithelial cells. And Step 3, which is really the core problem we're focusing on today, an aberrant repair mechanism is triggered. Instead of fixing the damage, this malfunctioning repair process actually ablates or totally destroys the alveolus. The body tries to heal itself, but ironically ruins the tissue instead.
Moving to Section 2. Meet the rogue repair crew when healing goes wrong.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the prime culprits involved here. They're cells called fibroblasts. In a healthy body, you want fibroblasts. They are the body's normal builders, the construction workers that handle tissue remodeling and repair when you get a cut or an injury. But in IPF, these builders go completely rogue. It's kind of like a construction crew that lost their blueprints and just forgot how to stop pouring concrete. They gather in what are called fibroblastic foci in the lungs, and they just keep creating excessive scar tissue until the lung literally can no longer function.
But here's the thing, fibroblasts don't just act on their own, right? They follow orders, and those orders come from cytokines. Cytokines are chemotactic signaling proteins. If the fibroblasts are the construction workers, the cytokines are the foremen on the biological construction site. They bind to specific receptors on the cells and induce them to activate, migrate, and multiply. In the case of IPF, these foremen are shouting terrible, incredibly destructive orders.
And the whole situation gets even worse when another key player arrives on the scene, fibrocytes. Think of these as circulating reinforcements. They have fibroblast-like properties, and they're recruited straight from your bloodstream into the fibrotic lungs. Once they arrive at the crime scene, they join the rogue crew, secreting even more excess extracellular matrix. That's the dense structural material that makes up scar tissue.
Section 3. Suspect 1, CCL21 and CCR7, hijacking the system.
Okay, this is where the biology gets truly surprising. Under normal, healthy conditions, the CCR7 receptor and its signaling partner, CCL21, actually do a good job. They guide immune cells, like T cells, into lymphoid tissues. But amazingly, this exact same signaling pathway is often exploited by cancer cells to survive and spread through the lymphatic system. And recently, researchers made a shocking discovery. IPF fibroblasts hijack this exact same system.
They use CCL21 and CCR7 to migrate into the lungs, multiply rapidly, and artificially survive when they normally should have died off.
So the crucial point is exactly what this quote lays out. IPF fibroblasts behave in a remarkably similar manner to cancer cells. By using CCR7 and CCL21, these specific rogue signals are directly responsible for the massive buildup of scar tissue. It grants these hyperactive builder cells the ability to essentially swarm the lungs and completely refuse to shut down.
Section 4. Suspect 2. The IL-6 cytokine, a tale of two signals.
And this brilliantly illustrates the incredibly tragic irony of this disease. IL-6 is a multifunctional cytokine. When IL-6 binds to normal, healthy lung fibroblasts, it actually inhibits their proliferation. It stops their growth and allows for normal cell death when the repair job is done. But when IL-6 binds to IPF lung fibroblasts, it does the exact opposite. It becomes mitogenic. It fuels their growth and entirely blocks cell death. It's wild. The exact same biological signal has totally opposite effects depending on whether the cell is healthy or diseased.
So how does it actually do this? Well, IL-6 essentially gives the IPF fibroblasts an order that makes them immortal. It increases an anti-apoptotic protein called BCL2. Anti-apoptotic just meaning it prevents cell death. At the very same time, it decreases a pro-apoptotic protein called BAX. Because of this heavily skewed internal signaling, the IPF fibroblasts become highly resistant to what's called FAS-induced apoptosis. Basically, their self-destruct button is jammed. They refuse to die off when the job is done.
And this wasn't just a theory. It was proven in laboratory settings. Scientists studied transgenic mice that had a specific mutation in the GP130 receptor. That's the receptor that IL-6 binds to. When challenged, these mice with altered GP130 signaling exhibited a significantly increased fibrotic response. It definitively proved that this dysregulated, chaotic signaling directly causes increased lung fibrosis.
Section 5. Stopping the scarring. Neutralizing the rogue signals.
So now that we've identified the corrupt foreman giving these bad orders, how can we actually help patients? Well, the research presents some highly optimistic laboratory findings. When scientists used antibodies to immunoneutralize either CCR7 or CCL21 in mice, it significantly reduced the lung fibrosis. Similarly, when they did a genetic knockdown of IL-6 in mouse models, it ameliorated or improved the fibrotic responses. By identifying these specific rogue pathways, scientists are opening some vital new doors. Because if we know exactly which signals are causing the fibroblasts to go rogue, we can finally begin to develop targeted pharmacological interventions to block them.
We started this explainer looking at a disease with no cure, a biological mystery that devastates hundreds of thousands of lives. But by tracking the steps of this rogue repair crew and understanding the precise cellular instructions that drive them, science is closing in on the culprits, which leaves us with this final, profound question. By targeting these specific pathways, are we on the verge of finally being able to switch off the rogue signals of IPF? The laboratory data suggests we just might be. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible science. Keep asking questions and keep learning.